everyone, most importantly, what's happening with Tracy's hair? Tell us. You're muted. You're still muted. Can't hear you.
Oh, I was talking the whole time. I'm going to dinner with Kate tonight, so I'm letting my curls dry. I had to put all my little clips in.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I figure we're all friends here. I could just wear my clips, right?
I have a hole in my shirt, so we're definitely all friends here.
I
Oh,
haven't showered in a week.
a week? Wow, girl.
I love it. You win
I
the
went to the
prize.
sauna today, so it's happening tonight.
Don't you love that? Like a shower after many days and a sauna.
I had my hair colored last week, so I always like to go as long as possible so that it can really
It still looks good, Carly.
I know, thanks. I mean, it doesn't, I don't think it looks like I haven't showered in a week.
No, not at all.
Much dry shampoo do you have to use? I
I
like,
didn't. I haven't done anything.
oh my gosh.
Not the
Wow.
dream thing.
Usually it's really greasy. I don't know what she put in my hair.
I feel like mine is kind of drier after I get it done, and then it doesn't get as oily as quick.
I think they just use really good products, but I don't bring my own products, so more than likely whatever she's using is stuff I don't want to be using on a daily basis. I just don't ask.
Yeah.
Don't ask.
But I'm tempted to go back because it literally the curls that are in here are still from when she did it. I
Oh my God.
Wow.
don't know what she did. Magic.
It is magic.
Okay. Well, we made it.
We did.
We made it onto the call, y'all. Hi, Kat. Good to see your name too. The other cat. Both cats.
Cat squared.
Cat squared. Hopefully you can hear us. Hi.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is a very discombobulated on and off. Are we having the call? Are we not having the call? What's going on? So we can kind of make this what we want it to be. There was some people who were saying that they wanted some like hormone support, but I'm like also not sure if they're on this call. So I guess I'll ask you guys. Would it be helpful to do some hot seat coaching today? Would it be helpful for me to teach something around hormones? Or gut health or anything else that you're like, yeah, have burning questions around because it feels like a little start stop. And then some people that wanted this topic aren't here. So I just want to kind of like get a litmus test or gauge. Tell me what you think you would want.
I'm open to all things. I don't have a burning need one way or the other.
Okay. Cat one.
What is cat one?
I mean, you're unmuted, so you go for it.
Um, I would, I don't know if I have it. I know that I don't have it in me currently right now in this moment to do hot seat coaching or be coached. For like emotional stuff like I did last week. Just based on my day and everything else and all my resources being pretty depleted right now. And I would welcome other people or I don't have any burning questions.
Okay.
I'm thinking otherwise. So open for others.
Great. Cat squared. And welcome, Jess. This is your first group call. Sorry about the Zoom situation.
Oh, that's okay. It happens.
We were just talking about I was just trying to get normally we're a little bit more like this is what we're doing on the call, but there's a little bit of start and stop with whether we're having the call. So sometimes we do hot seat coaching where people can get their questions answered and get support, and sometimes we teach things. So I was just kind of getting a litmus test from everyone about like what would be the most supportive for today. Um, Oh, okay. So Kat says, same as Tracy for some reason or another, my mic decided not to work for this call. Great. We're doing great. The technology is supporting us so much today. Okay. So it sounds like you're in a good place with like you don't have a ton of questions. Jess, I know you're just starting. We haven't even had our kickoff call. Um, so I can teach something, or we can just go through and see where people are at and kind of make sure that you're supported on track. Um, Jess, what would be most supportive for you? This is your first call.
Um, Sorry, I'm dealing with my dog real quick.
Oh, no worries.
I I think I don't I guess I really don't know. I kind of was just hoping to listen today just because we haven't done our startup call. I did get my um sample in the mail today for my hair tissue analysis, so I'm excited to do that. Um, but yeah, I don't have a lot right now. I just kind of was hoping to listen in today.
Okay. All right. Hey, Kat, nice to see your face. Okay. Well, I think then I'm gonna just like ask y'all where you're at and make sure you're supported on this call, and then we can do more of an educational call the next time. Since there's like, yeah, since there's people who wanted the more education stuff aren't on this call today. So we'll just do popcorn style. I'd love to hear from each of you a win, could be anything in your life. And an area where you're, yeah, where you want some support or you ha might have a question or, yeah, where I could explain something deeper or Carly could. Cat squared is if your mic isn't working, is it still not working? Okay. Why don't you type yours in the chat and we'll start with someone else. Okay. Tracy.
Okay. Um, when I finished my parasite medication, and I'm so glad it's over. It was horrible, like horrible. Um, I think I'd rather give birth 6 more times than go through that again. It was
Really?
really,
Why? What happened with the medication?
um, I'm not exactly sure, but I think all my deducing has led me to when I got the prescription, it said to take it twice a day. And then, but my doctor had said take it 3 times a day. And so I called the doctor's office and said, hey, there's this discrepancy, what should I do? And he said, no, I want you, like, this is aggressive. I want you to take it 3 times a day. So I was like, okay. And I was so, so, so sick. Just like bloated and felt horrible, dizzy, throwing up, like terrible. And I was like, I didn't know. So I was just like, oh, this is what passing the parasite is like. This sucks.
Wait, hello, hi, I'm right here. Message me next time, sister. Seriously. Oh
Should
my
have.
goodness.
I really should have.
Oh no.
Um,
Did you talk to your doctor who prescribed the medication?
I finally did on like day 9. I started having, I have a valve, heart valve thing that makes my heart like flutter, palpitate irregularly. And I was having like a whole bunch of them in a row and couldn't seem to get it regulated. And it was like 11 o'clock at night. And so I was freaking out. So I left a message on the nurse line, which they don't answer in the middle of the night. And didn't call the emergency line, and they scolded me the next day and said, that could have been a sign of a stroke, and you call the emergency line because that's what that's for. That's what that line is for. But of course, they said, women typically do that. We downplay our symptoms. We are like, oh, I don't want to bother anyone. I'll just call them tomorrow, and then you have stroke. So they're like, don't ever do that. So that's my advice to the group is don't downplay your symptoms. Call right away because that's what you're supposed to do.
Okay, wait.
So
Let's pause.
mhm,
Can we all agree that we're not going to downplay our symptoms and we're going to ask for help? Okay. Yay.
yes.
Obviously, we are not an emergency room. We are not physicians. So that is a perfect example of when we want to use our doctors, and not just lean on holistic support. And also just a note to everyone, like, we are here for you. And so, like, you know, part of the purpose of being in a group container is getting group and some in this version some hybrid one-to-one support as well. So if something's coming up, even if it seems like you can handle it on your own, but you're just like maybe not used to asking for help, you can always message in the private channel. Jess, I know you just started, so I'm especially saying that for you, and Clarissa, you just started as well. And if it's something that's outside of our scope, like vomiting, I'm going to tell you to go to the ER, you know? So just for everyone, for like how we use this space, but also, yeah, like as women, right? We downplay our symptoms a lot. We take on so much, and then we just like we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. So I'm sorry that you had to experience that to get to that conclusion. And also thanks
Yeah,
for teaching us through your learned experience.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Well,
Oh.
and I could have easily self reached out and asked you like, is this how I'm supposed to feel? Like, is this normal? Um, and then I would have acted on it sooner. So hindsight being 2020, lots of lessons learned there. But I'm done with it and feeling a lot better. So I'm grateful for that.
Oh, I'm grateful for that too. Yeah. Yeah, so sometimes when we run GI maps, we see parasites, and then there's always the option for you to take herbals, like more holistic antiparasitics, and sometimes medication. So Tracy, yeah, decided to do the medication route. It sounds like it was just really rough on your body. They can be really tough.
Yeah.
Um, did you feel like you were able to get it out,
I
hopefully?
don't know because I don't really know what it's supposed to feel like afterwards, you know? And what was really weird is I had some emotion around letting it go, like not wanting to let it go. And I'm like, what is this all about? I'm doing all of this, pain and suffering to get rid of it. Something in my brain, I think it was something like, um, I don't even know if I can put it into words. Like when everything should look positive going forward, like everything should be happy and great, like what if it isn't, you know?
Mm.
And I don't know, there was just some fear around things being different and new. And I kept logically telling myself, yeah, but also better, which is good, right? It's going to be better, not just different and new, but it's going to be better, hopefully. But yeah, I don't know, almost some fear around that or something. It's kind of interesting.
That's really interesting. So it was like your subconscious brain that is like running the show was kind of having a different experience than your logical brain.
Yeah.
And how do you feel like about that now that you're through it?
Um, I worked my way through that emotion, which was good. And then like the last 2 days were so hard passing it that I was like, everyone, all my parts were in agreement that we wanted it to go.
Got all your parts on board.
Yeah, I got all my
Okay.
parts on board, like, yep, we are doing this thing, we want this thing gone. And then it was much better. And now I just don't know, like, is this what it's supposed to feel like now? I don't know.
Mm. Was the fear?
Tracy,
Oh, go, Carly. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, have you ever heard the quote, your nervous system will always choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven?
That's exactly what it felt like, Carly. That's exactly what it felt like.
It's the nervous system search for comfort and safety running on like old programming because it like knows what it feels like to feel the way that you feel now. So in a
Mm.
strange way, there's safety in that because it knows what to expect.
Yeah, that totally makes sense to me. It's perverse, but that's what it felt like. Like, it makes sense. Yeah. So thank you all for going on my parasite journey with me.
You know we're here for it. Welcome to the new people. This is what we talk about. Parasites
Uh-huh.
and emotions on these calls. Tracy, I'm really proud of you. And I'm also really proud of you for sharing like with us to let us witness you. And also I'm really excited to do some one-to-ones with you around helping you with your parts, and you don't have to do that on your own anymore.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And anyone else who's new, Clarissa and Jess specifically, parts refers to, there's a really great book called No Bad Parts if you want to pick it up around our emotional health. Katrina and Tracy are actually biological sisters. They have a third sister they're doing a book club. And it's a system that was created by Dr. Richard Schwartz called internal family systems. And essentially it's like this idea that we have all these different parts inside of us. We have parts that try to protect us. We have parts that try to put fires out for us. We have parts all over the place. And so sometimes like what Tracy's experiencing, you can be like, oh, I know I want to get rid of this thing, but also there's a part of me that's like not ready because what would that mean? And there could be fear. And so that's what she meant by she got all of her parts on board to go in the same direction so she could release the parasite, not just physically, but parasites are very emotional and energetic too. We know that from years of helping people pass parasites. Hmm. Yeah, good job. Good job, body and mind.
Yes, thank you, body.
Thank you, body. Yay. Okay. Wow. Well, I'm really glad you're past that. Action steps for you right now? Sound like maybe booking a call?
My big priority now is, well, just kind of reassessing like my new body and primarily really hitting hard the gut restoration system because I took an antibiotic. I have some concern over all the good bacteria I might have lost, and hopefully some more bad ones, but um, yeah, so just gut restoration is my goal now, eating lots of sauerkraut and
Bone broth.
apple cider vinegar and the whole gut restoration system, which I notice already helps so much.
Great. Oh, amazing. Yeah. And for anyone who doesn't know, Total Gut Restoration Kit, it's a kit. It's a 3-month kit to restore the gut microbiome from Microbiome Labs. They're like one of the forefront researchers in the gut microbiome. And so it's like probiotics, prebiotics, and you got that immune support on there too. Yeah, the sauerkraut, the kimchi, the bone broth, if you can tolerate bone broth, can be really, really great. Apple cider vinegar, all that sounds good. Gentle, really cook your foods, like maybe a little bit less raw food if your stomach is kind of like coming back online. And then you can start to introduce, and then like with fiber, you can also be slow with your reintroduction of fiber.
Okay.
Yeah. If you get like a little bloated, sometimes that happens after antibiotics. We kind of have a little bit of an imbalance in bacteria. And so it's not that fiber is bad for us, but if we go like full force, like 2 cups of beans, we might be bloated out.
Yeah.
So you can start slow, like even like a tablespoon of like a fibrous vegetable or something if you feel like you need it.
Yeah, that's really good to know, Sophie. I did have a lot of bloating and I was I'm like, oh, I need green leafy vegetables. I need fiber again now that all this is gone. But it was hard to digest. So that's good advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound really gross, but I can like slack you some of the alterations to make it not so gross. But I just did a 9-day cleanse, and it sounds harder than it was because you're like eating the whole time. But I still don't digest vegetables very well. And one of the options was to like turn the vegetable, like the salads, into a soup. And it
Ooh,
actually like wasn't that terrible. And I digested it like really, really well, which is really exciting. So if you're
um,
interested or curious in some salad soup recipes, I can send them your way.
So Carly, it's raw, but you're like basically putting it in a blender.
Yeah, I blended it up.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Huh.
So you don't get like there is something to do about like chewing and breaking down the food, but if you're not digesting it well anyway, then like I mean like I was completely bloated and gassy from the raw salad the night before, and I had literally like no issues with the blended. It was like so cool. I haven't
It's
felt
really
that good eating a salad in 3 years.
that's fascinating.
Salad soup.
Salad soup.
Okay. Sounds good, Tracy, in terms of your action step. I'm glad you have some clarity. Um, Carly, thanks for the added tip. And yeah, for anyone else who might notice they have some bloating, like a good general tip is to cook your vegetables really well at the beginning and then slowly introduce more raw or lightly steamed vegetables, or even like if you're going to experiment with like legumes, for example, if you've been like not able to do that before, you can just do like a teaspoon or a tablespoon, and you can just slowly introduce that food to your microbes because what can happen is the microbiome can shift, and then when you eat those fiber foods, they're like food for the microbes. And so then the microbes can cause us to bloat if they're in the wrong place or there's too many of the wrong kinds. So that's why that works. And then really chewing our food, and definitely helping with like maybe some apple cider vinegar or digestive enzymes, if indicated, can be really helpful as well for bloat. And then the final thing for anyone who's struggling with bloat is castor oil packs. Guys, just wear them. They're so great. Oh my gosh, I was so bloated the other night. I don't know what I ate or what it was, but I had my castor oil pack on. I slept with it on. I woke up and my stomach was so flat and I did not have any bloat. So we love a castor oil pack. Okay,
Awesome.
beautiful. Tracy, you want to you feel complete?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
You want to pass it to someone?
Sure. Jess. Okay.
Hey, Jess. I know you said you wanted to listen in, but yeah, the floor is yours if you have questions or oh, you're still muted, sweetie. Can't hear you.
There we go. I couldn't get it to find the button.
Hi.
My question was, what brand of castor oil packs do you recommend?
Great question. We really like the Queen of the Thrones, Dr. Marisol. I had her on the podcast recently. She's great. I like them because they have a little string. I have mine right here. Hang on a second. Show it to you. I like it because it has a string and then I can tie it around myself, but you can just get like a cotton one off of Amazon if you want. But I just like that because it has the strings, and then you just put the oil in the middle, and then I
Oh,
kind of rub it around with the cloth and then tie it around my liver or my belly.
gotcha. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and we have a discount link too. So I can send that to you, or I might just put it in the group chat.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I like that a lot, and they run really good Black Friday sales. So I bought like all my castor oil and packs for the year last November.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess since I'm just kind of starting this journey, I've been kind of being more mindful with like foods that I've chosen and like especially when I eat. And I've been reading Fast Like a Girl by Dr. Mindy Pelz, and I like it just because there's purpose behind some of the foods. And so I've been trying to incorporate a lot of different things and just be more mindful of what I'm eating and then like paying attention to how I feel afterwards. So, because there's a lot of times where around like 4 or 5 o'clock, I'm like, man, I feel crappy, and I don't remember what I did, specifically. And then at work, they have a step challenge, and so I've been trying to get more steps in, and just I like to work out, and I have always been motivated for that, but I have not been able to continually be motivated to be active throughout the day. And so I've been trying to kind of incorporate more walks and things like that to kind of help digest foods and things like that. So that's kind of what I've been focusing on so far.
Amazing. That sounds like a great place to start, especially even before our first call. Can I ask a couple questions and give
Yeah.
some feedback? Okay.
Yep.
Well, one question I have for you is, would it be helpful for you if I sent you, there's a digital and also a PDF version of like a food, mood, and poop journal that I can send to you if it's helpful for you to track?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can send that to you. Let me just write it down. Food, mood, poop. I'll send you both. One of them's in the portal in the Practice Better, and you can just like put stuff in there, and the other one is like a PDF that you can print out and like kind of journal.
Okay.
What I typically tell people, this is great for everyone, but ideally, like our meal should be lasting us, like energy wise, mood, everything, satiety, for like at least like 4 hours. That's like an ideal amount. If we're getting like hungry or hangry, like irritable, we're crashing or bloating, it's probably that something in the combination of our macronutrients wasn't quite right. And everyone's like needs with macronutrients are a little bit different. So Tracy and Katrina just did some ketogenic diet to try that out, and I know that worked for both of them. So a higher fat percentage works. A lot of people find like a higher protein is going to be the one that kind of keeps their energy up. And so you can experiment with those. If you're when you say you're feeling crappy, my question is like, what does that look like or feel like for you?
Just like bloaty and sluggish, is the main thing. Like when I get home, I don't want to do anything. And it's more of like the bloating that drives it, not just tired. And so that's what makes me think it's more food driven, but I don't know. I'm just starting all of this out. So
Yeah, well, let's like we obviously we can figure it out over time, but castor oil pack would be great, for sure. I'm also wondering, are you like chewing your food when you're working?
I actually wrote that down when you said that because I tend to eat quickly. So definitely sitting down and actually chewing all my food would probably be of benefit to me. So yes.
Let's try the free thing first
Yeah.
before we add a supplement, Because the thing that's funny is we forget that stress, like any sort of stress, which like we're all probably a little bit stressed at work, even if we enjoy what we do, shuts down the vagal tone, the vagus nerve, and that is actually what controls like our motility in our gut. So when we eat food, it takes 90 minutes for our intestines to do the sweeping process to move it through. And so, if we are not optimizing that time, and we're just like rushing through and we're not chewing, then there's a lot more strain on everything, our stomach acid, our proteolytic enzymes, everything to like help break down that food further. So it's kind of funny how we expect our stomach to turn like a piece of steak into the thing that comes out the other end, isn't it? Like kind of funny. We're like, here, I'll just chew twice and then swallow, and then you figure it out, body.
Uh,
And so all that to say, it's like a combination of the actual mastication of our chewing and also the state of our nervous system when we're eating. And being relaxed actually helps our body release that stomach acid and digestive enzyme process.
okay.
All right. So yeah, I think chew and see if you can maybe take like a little break, maybe 15 minutes even when you eat. That could be good.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. The other thing is, what are you like eating for lunch on a typical day?
I try to do like a salad with a lot of different vegetables, and normally that doesn't bother me. And then I try to get a good serving of protein. So a lot of times I work at a hospital, so a lot of times I'll bring my own protein source so
Mhm.
that right. So I'll bring like diced chicken or something like that and put that in a salad. And normally I feel good with that, but then there's some days where like, oh, I'll have a hamburger or I'll like try a little bit of pasta, and I think that really throws me off. So I just need to pay more attention to kind of what I'm eating. My evening meal, I'm more consistent of because I'm cooking it myself. So, it's more, beef and then like there's no additives, and so it's like potatoes and steamed vegetables, and and I never really have a problem digesting that. So
Okay. Well, one other thought I have from what you described is if you're not already gluten-free with that, like the pasta and the hamburger, that can also cause bloat for some
yeah,
people. Yeah.
i I haven't fully committed to it yet. I don't know why that scares me. I don't know, it's not necessarily scaring, but scary to commit to. And I do notice though on the days I don't eat gluten, I feel better. So I just probably need to commit to it and just try it for a week or 2 weeks and just see how I feel. Um and yeah, I'm just trying to be more knowledgeable about what I'm eating and tracking that. So
Any of my veterans want to comment on their experience with gluten?
As you were saying that, literally the last four sentences you said was me 18 months ago.
Okay.
I literally in the first conversation with Sophie. So I don't know if you were prompting me or if everybody else has had that same, but I
Everyone
literally
else had,
said,
had it, and I've said it 2,000 times, so that's why I'm
I'm
like, you can say
I
it.
was like, I'm gluten free. And then she was like, are you 100% gluten free? And I was like, I'm like 90-ish%, probably 95. But within 2 or 3 weeks of going, I like made a decision. Sophie prompted me, and then I was like, bitch, you don't know me and don't tell me to do that. And then I was like, okay, fine, I'll commit to it. And then I committed to it and to her, and then I was like, well, now I made a commitment. And then it was way easier than I thought because I
Hmm.
made the decision. And then within 2 or 3 weeks, I had a lot of improvement with a bunch of my symptoms. It's
Yeah.
still a bunch of other things too. It's not, but way improved. Way improved.
All right, you're swaying me in that direction.
Yeah. And I wish I have such a horrible memory. Uh, a lot of my skin issues got better. My sleep got better. My PMS symptoms were incredibly improved within a month of just the little tiny things. I think it was that and what's the I can't remember the name of the supplement, but it was one supplement and going gluten free before I even got my HTMA back, before I started taking vitamins, all that stuff. So um, it makes a difference, it turns out. So there you go.
Cool. Thanks.
I love the aggression Katrina came in with. Little did we know we'd be on this like friendship path now.
I was so irritated with you when you were like, but are you 100% gluten free? I was like, I think I even said I knew you were gonna ask me,
Yeah.
or I knew you were gonna tell me that I had to go gluten free. And you're like, you don't have to do anything. And I was like, well, I'm paying money for a reason. So
Yeah. So we can talk more on our kickoff call about all of it. And also in the She Academy, there's a whole video about like why you might want to become gluten free. But I would do, if you're gonna do it, I would do it fully, because if you are non-celiac gluten sensitive, which is like 6% or more of the population, um, it, it any little amount reactivates the immune system and it kind of starts you all over again.
Yeah.
And that is where it can get really confusing. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, I think I feel better, but I'm not sure. So I would recommend just like doing it cold turkey, when like pick a date, like when you feel like you could commit, if you feel like you're ready to do that, and try to do it for more than 2 weeks. Like I would do it for 2 months
Okay.
and just see how you do. And then if you want to, at that point, if you feel so much better, some people are like, okay, I don't even want to go back there. I was a little bit, I'm more of a like, I need to experience it
Mhm.
person. So I went back and I never will go back again. It is the wide range of emotions. I know people who get suicidal. I know people who get violent rage. I know people who, myself, brain fog and fatigue are my main symptoms, and pretty bad depression for about a week. Other people skin, other people reproductive, PMS. So yeah, the brain fog. It's called gluten ataxia. It like actually will impact the brain neurologically. Dr. Karazian, who's the founder of Apex Energetics, has done a ton of research on gluten in the brain, and it's quite fascinating. So that would be my recommendation, is to kind of like let the immune system settle, take it out for at least a couple months, and then you can try it again and see if you feel okay.
All right. Cool.
Cool. So it sounds like some action steps might be going gluten free
Yep.
and get and castor oil packs, and then chewing your food, and I think that was it. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. How do you feel about those?
I feel really good. I'll probably take, like one little step at a time and yeah, get started on that. I'm excited for it.
Sounds good. The only other thing is that we can message more about this. I don't think I see you on my calendar for a one-to-one call, so let's make sure we get that booked.
I don't think I've scheduled that yet. My bad.
Yeah. I am also going actually to see Carly for her birthday. So my schedule's a little bit tight right at this exact moment, but what we can find, we'll find something.
Okay.
I think it just might be outside of my normal hours. We might just have to message back and forth or something.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Cat squared. I saw you wrote back at 4:26, a win. Finally had the courage to let my boss know that I'm feeling bitter at work, so I'm not continuing in my full-time teaching job in the fall. Whoa, I really wish your microphone was working. Cat! Yay! 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 Happy dance for cat! Happy dance for cat! Oh my gosh, this has been such a strain on your system for like the whole year I've known you. Oh my gosh. So proud of you. I'm really proud of you. I really wish your mic was working. We love you. We're happy for you. And that's a huge win. Congratulations. Amazing. And then it sounds like you have an action step already figured out. Figure out who I will reach out to in my support group to help me love life again and to bounce ideas off of what I want in life as I have an ongoing list of not wants. Amazing. Can I give some thoughts, feedback? Okay. First, did you hear my message today? Do you? Okay. So you can listen to that song. I sang her a little song in our one-to-one chat. Um, listen to that song anytime you need it. And in terms of support, just want to offer again, like you can lean on us if it feels good. Um, and I love what you said here. So this is really important for all of us. So she says, I want to bounce ideas off of what I want in life as I have an ongoing list of not wants. So Carly and I have talked about this a lot in various forms over the years, but it's like we can either go through life defined by the not wants or by the wants. We can go towards what we want or away from what we don't want. So I see this all the time in health. I'll say, well, what do you want for your health? And then I'm really bloated and I have acne and my poops are terrible and I'm irritable and I snap at my husband all the time. And I'm like, yeah, but what do you want? Right? So this is a super important recalibration mentally for us. Notice throughout your day when you're in the away from energy versus the towards what we want. And actually you can for all the lists that you have, Kat, and you probably already know this is where you're going with it. I would, a really fun like invitation challenge could be on a piece of paper to write all the not wants and then write the positive, the towards motivation. What's the opposite of the not want? So I don't want to feel bitter in my job. Okay, so what do you really want in your career? I want to feel light and free and easy, whatever it is, right? So what do I want? That could be helpful. I mean, you can totally bounce ideas off of friends and like empowerment to you to do it on your own too, and for all of us. Okay. Um, Yeah, and then I know like some of the stuff you sent in the private chat around that like getting your love for life back again. And I'm not sure if we can run it in Canada, but if you want to, there is a panel we love called the Neural Panel for anyone listening who's like wanting to get that zest or if like you're feeling like unmotivated or if you're feeling anxious or depressed at all ever in the program. The Neural Panel, we don't talk about it a lot, but it can be quite helpful for all of us. Carly and I both run it. I used it to get off my antidepressant. It looks at your serotonin, your dopamine, your histamine, so like all your brain chemicals. So we can always add that if it would feel supportive for you, Kat, at any point. I would have to check Canada, but that can sometimes be really, really helpful. It was really helpful for me when I was feeling that lack of love for life. Um, but we love you and we hope you get that love for life back soon. Um, Anything else that you need today? Type in the chat, give you a second. Man, I'm so proud of you. Such a great win. Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Okay, I'm gonna go to Katrina and Lasgard. Katrina!
Hmm.
Our call got kind of interrupted. We were on a
No, it's good. And I started the call by talking about or alluding to not feeling so good, and I realized I was dehydrated, so I'm starting to feel better. Um, I have two wins. I was only going to list one, but I just can't stop myself. So I have two wins. One is um the consistent fun that I'm having and struggle at the same time, but I'm making it fun through my outlook, digging into my parts, and we won't make the whole call about our parts, but wow, that book is good, and wow, my sisters and I and a cousin who we call a sister are really getting to know one another in a different way through doing that book club together in a super raw and vulnerable and exposing all the dynamics we have between each other and like all the things. Tracy and I haven't had a chance to talk about it. I can't wait to talk about it tonight at dinner. So that's a win. The fun that I'm having doing it, even the book club outside of it, just the in personal like reflection work that I'm doing and meditating each morning is really grounding me in my approach daily, and that's fantastic. Because I'm at the what could be the most stressful time of the year during my work at the end of our fiscal year, and I am not. I'm the me now versus the me 2 years ago is like lights out, completely different in my approach and how I feel on a daily basis, which is great. And then the second one is I am I'm arranging a group of people to do a retreat that I recently took part of, and I'm gonna do one here in Minnesota, and I'm like super excited about it. I got a chance to talk with the girl that runs the retreat, and we have a plan in place, and I'm in sales and marketing and recruiting sort of anyway, so I'm super excited to find a bunch of my network that is interested in doing the same sort of retreat here in Minnesota that I did out in Colorado. And
What?
my, yeah, I didn't tell you. I didn't tell you. And then my question is around Jess brought up fasting and fast like a girl. I read the book Women and Hormones and then did the and mm, have been doing the keto for women's hormones to balance hormones. I haven't been getting enough fat on board to like fully say that I've been following it to actually balance my hormones.
Mhm.
I've been feeling good and energetic, etc., but I have only been eating 2 meals a day. And I know Carly last week made a comment about you got to have 3 meals a day. And I was like, well, that's not actually the program. But now that we just had my HTMA, if I can just make this question about my, like, as a follow-up,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the level of stress that my body's under with the parasite cleansing that I'm doing, or the parasite program that I'm doing, and like minerals and whatever. How much stress does it put on your body to miss meals if you're still eating within a whatever window and you have energy, etc.? How do I weigh, how would you weigh if you were me, whether I continue with that program and make a priority of balancing my hormones and ego wise, a side effect is losing weight. Um, or giving my body less stress if it is in fact very stressful for it to miss a meal. Because I'm eating between 11 and 6 usually, maybe noon and 7 or 8.
Okay, because the protocol requires a 16-hour fast, right? Or prefers a 16-hour fast.
Yeah, yeah. In order, and it for me, in order to get into the levels based on my testing of my glucose and my other thing that it measures, your ketones, to get it to a level of it's like very high ketones to be able to be effectively balancing your hormones or getting that work done to balance your hormones. It requires a high level of ketones and a very short eating window for me for how my body was reacting to things.
Okay. I think that there's a compromise. I'm just thinking about this. So you haven't read Fast Like a Girl. You read the
No, I
doc.
just downloaded it on Audible though because I was like, ooh, that's another perspective I can get. That's great. So
And
it's
you're still
downloaded.
oh great. And you're still cycling pretty normally for your
Mhm.
menstrual cycle, right?
Yeah, very
So
normal.
yeah, okay. So with the fact that you're still cycling normally, then what you could do at this stage in your life, and maybe it'll switch again when you go through fully through menopause and are in that stage of life, because Dr. Gottfried's book is fantastic, but it is more geared for like a menopausal woman, and you're not in menopause. So I think Fast Like a Girl will be a great read for you because what she talks about is she talks about this. She talks about how there can be stress if we fast too often, right? And so there are certain phases of our menstrual cycle that we can track and we can link to fasts and to longer fasts or shorter fasts. So the answer is like there's not like a I wish there was like a way to know on a daily basis, like a test we could be like put something on our arm and be like, can I fast today or can I not fast today, right? That technology doesn't exist yet. The closest we have really is probably like a CGM, right? To see like where things are with a continuous glucose monitor in terms of like what might be helpful there, what might be stressing our system. So I think okay, I think two things. One, you know that I'm not the biggest fan of fasting with people who have a cycle. I think it can definitely stop or skip cycles. I've seen that happen before because we're just simply not getting enough food in. However, I think Mindy Pelz's idea of using our natural cyclical estrogen progesterone can be really quite helpful. So I would potentially shift it so that instead of it being every single day, you're not eating, it's you fast on the days in your cycle that is helpful for that. Okay. So the general rule of thumb there, just to like summarize, there's so much great stuff in that book, but the general rule of thumb is when we switch into progesterone dominance after we have our ovulation and we're on that lead up to our cycles, ladies, and we're in that luteal phase where everything that anyone says makes us want to like yell at them, that PMS, that part, that part. That is typically the part where we want to really go very gently or skip fasting altogether. So that's like a 12 or 13-hour fast, maybe, or no fasting at all. We want to be focusing on mineral-rich foods, bone broth, all the complex carbohydrates, the protein, the fiber, all that stuff to help escort estrogen out and also to nourish our bodies. Progesterone's a warming hormone, right? So when we warm up the body naturally, right? That's like when you cycle track, if you use Oro or any other like temperature tracker, that's why when you do that, the temperature rises because progesterone is literally heating your body up. So when you are heating your body up in your like that's going to burn more calories. You're going to literally need more food, about 10% more calories. And so that is probably not, that is actually like would be quite stressful for some people's bodies to fast during that time, right? And then when you're like ovulating, right? And when you're like in more of an estrogen rise, you can fast a little bit easier. There's a little bit more leeway there as well, generally speaking. She has very specific windows, so I would read the book for sure. We could talk about it more, but that would maybe be a way for you to still do it. The other thing is, I personally think that if we're fasting, we should be eating breakfast and then fasting later. There's quite a bit of data around the time of fasting for women with PCOS, for example. I had a client with pretty severe PCOS, pretty extreme weight gain, really irregular cycles, and she had heard her eating window, I think we made it like 8 to 5. And that really supported her. And there was a study that showed, I forget all the statistics, but it showed like weight loss, better blood pressure, lower cholesterol, like basically all the things that are like, involved in metabolic syndrome or insulin resistance, all those things dropped when the eating window was kind of more synced with the sun. So circadian fasting versus intermittent fasting with the morning chunk out. So those are some variances that you might want to play with and see if they can be helpful for you and be a little less stressful.
Yeah, we got it. I haven't sensed that it's been stressful, but there's a few indicators based on what we just reviewed that maybe it is. There's also a lot of other things that are, right, this parasite thing, et cetera. But um and then Carly, thanks for the comment. Yes, I had no intention of going past the 6 month mark with this women in hormones keto-ish because they recommend like don't go more than 6 months. We don't have data on it. It might not be good for you. But it's been interesting to explore my fear of gaining the weight back, which you and I talked about, Carly, and we did some diving in. And then I would have no problem making this a lifestyle based on the way I feel and based on what I've been doing. But I also like the idea of eating breakfast again. Like I love breakfast. And, I mean, I've been eating breakfast foods for lunch or dinner,
I
but
was reading something because when I was doing the 369 cleanse, I was doing a lot of research because it's not extremely research based. Um, and I don't remember, like Sophie, I don't remember where I was reading the information, but it was saying even like the concept of like the gym buffs of cutting, bulking and cutting, even for them, like the swinging back and forth is more stressful on the body than finding a happy medium of balance that's sustainable throughout like the whole. So
mm,
just keep that in mind that like when we're constantly swinging back and forth between these different like fad um
mm,
periods of time, like yeah, short time to like alleviate the stressors and bring down inflammation, but we really are looking for what is some like is this something I can see myself continuing to do for the rest of my life?
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, the premise of the book is that, or the premise of the approach is to do it in a short sprint for like 1 month and then balance out your hormones and then test and add carbs back
Add
in,
carbs.
etc. But yes, I mean, and yes, there's no but about it. I haven't figured out what the sustainable thing is, so I'm looking forward to reading the book and figuring out what works for me. Thank you.
In the book, she talks about like that slow carb add back. Have you done that already?
Um, yes, without doing it formally, and I haven't measured, but yes. And then my weight loss plateaued even at the beginning of February or beginning of March.
Hmm.
So, and I've been having enough carbs where but I don't know that I can't tell you like exactly how many. It was a shockingly low number in order for me to get to the ketone level that she was saying was balancing hormones. And if I'm at that, I drop weight really fast. So there's a
Okay.
motivator there, but it's like 18 carbs a day. That's like
Yeah.
nothing.
Right. So here's the thing though, is like what you can do is you don't have to be in keto, you don't have to be eating keto all the time to then drop back into ketosis, right? You can use that 5 to 7 days in the middle of your cycle, do the
Yeah,
fast and
yeah,
be in
yeah.
that more cut the carb back a little bit if that's working for you for those few days where you're metabolically set up for it with your estrogen
Yeah. Yeah, I
versus
look
it
forward
being
to
like
learning more about that.
yeah, because I think the tricky part is like yes, it can help you lose weight to go low carb, but also low carb can also like throw off our thyroid hormone, right? And so it's like we I think that balance with cycling and
Yeah.
tracking your cycle would be a really, really valuable. And then when you're not fasting, eat normally the way you always have been, protein, fiber, fat. And in the second part of your cycle,
Yeah.
you may need a little bit more carbs than like probably a lot more carbs than that,
Is
right?
it low carb or low starchy carbs?
I
It's
mean, the Women in Hormones book is the approach is in the very beginning is very low carb. It's like
Like so like not
20
even like
or
an
less.
apple.
20
And
or
that
less.
includes like apples and things like that.
I mean, if I have an apple, like that would blow my mind. Like an apple, how many carbs is in an apple?
That's what
Like,
I'm wondering.
right. So what I'm saying, Katrina, is when you're not doing like on that, if you do it like with the cycle, eat the apple on the other days.
yeah, yeah.
Eat the fiber
Yeah,
and
no,
the minerals.
yeah, yeah. I mean, once I figured out how much Tracy and I were having conversations about it, we're like, holy shit, this is anyway. So
Yeah.
yes, there's 25 grams of carbs in an apple to answer your question, Carly.
Right. And I think that
Oh.
that's the where she wants people, but it's only for 4 weeks. It's and right. And so we can do it in
Yeah, and then you just I've eaten blueberries and some other things, but the concept of me just downing an apple right now, I'd be like, no, that's gonna kick me out. And like it's not so I look forward to it. I've felt this like pull of like I know this isn't long term, but I don't know. I'm I'm cognizant of wanting to balance my hormones and solve my insulin resistance. Like that's the ultimate goal is insulin resistance avoidance, right? Or changing, fixing my insulin resistance. And boy, this call is really about me. So we're gonna shift on to somebody else pretty soon here. Clarissa's like, hello, I exist. Um, so uh insulin resistance is the largest goal, the highest goal that I have. And then I feel this tug at at all the other stuff going on. So
Okay.
it's I'm excited to read the book and have a different approach and then just keep figuring it out, testing things out and figuring out what is lifestyle, not diet. So
Let me know in the chat within like next 2 weeks what your findings are in that book. And then also let's make sure we like loop back on CGMs because that would be another helpful tool for you to have the CGM.
yeah.
Because like, we can talk dietary theory till we're blue in the face, but what's true for you, we don't know
Yeah.
until we're tracking it.
Yeah, and the tester that I have for glucose now is like prick of the finger, right? And that's not realistic more than once a day. So okay.
Okay, great. Plan. You feel good about your plan? You're gonna read the book. Give me your
I feel
thoughts.
fantastic.
Like,
Thanks for the
like
recommendation.
eat an apple and and then let us know and we'll maybe talk about the CGM too. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Clarissa, I know you're driving, but if you can unmute, I'd love to hear from you.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Sorry, everyone. Yes, I'm driving. I'm driving my way back from Wyoming. But I think what I gathered from each person sharing is a question, an action, and a win, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can go in any order, but if you want to start with win, that's good too, or yeah, whatever.
Perfect. So I would say, since I'm relatively new, my win is just kind of getting started with the modules and just being here. I think taking this first, step and trying to get my health on track. I think I would consider that a win, and I'm super excited to continue on. And just have been learning so much. So I love kind of being in this space and seeing everybody else's feedback, hearing everybody else's feedback has been great. So I would say that would be my win is just kind of getting started and jumping in. I would say a question that I have is I know nervous system regulation and that piece of it is extremely important in terms of, making sure that your body feels in a safe place to heal. And I think that I've been slowly making progress as far as trying to implement time to do that. But I think that one of the questions that I have, outside of breath work, and more mindfulness and mindset stuff, do you find that any of the devices like falsetto or anything that stimulates the vagus nerve, do you find those to be helpful, or would it be better for you to just continue on practicing, more breath work and mindfulness, and that way, outside of, as far as getting yourself out of the fight or flight or freeze mode?
Such a great question that everyone can benefit from. Awesome. I think devices can be another tool. So they can be another way to support the nervous system. I don't think any one thing is like the golden ticket for the nervous system because everyone's reason for being dysregulated is different. And frankly, it can be different multiple times a day. So to me, the answer is trying the tools. And then before you try a tool is actually to close your eyes. And this is good for everyone. This is what I would recommend is to close your eyes and be with yourself and see if you can feel how you're doing with your system on a scale of 1 to 10, perhaps. And so like that's something that I've tried before a tool, and then I'll try to like kind of check in with myself again after a tool. and see how that worked for me. So for example, like, there's a lot of tools in the nervous system module that, and I know you went through Erica's program too. So like I might kind of check with myself, like, how do I feel? Okay, I'm at like a 7. And the reason I know I'm at a 7 is because it's really hard for me to breathe in my chest and because I've been having like diarrhea today or because I have a headache or whatever, and I just feel really dysregulated. Right? We all have that somatic sense in our body of what it feels like to be dysregulated. And then I'm going to try the tool for 30 seconds to a minute to 2 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever it is, and then check again and see how you feel. Did it come down? Can you notice a little bit more expansion in your breath or your stomach? So that's one way to know if something's working for you. Just pause there. Um, and then the other part that I feel really inclined to say is nervous system regulation is anything that makes you feel joyful, happy, connected, or curious. So it's really funny how with like Instagram and TikTok, I see all these people who are like putting their face in like a bowl of ice water or, like doing stuff like this to regulate their nervous system when they could just go for a walk. Um,
Gotcha. Yeah.
so it's like I'm seeing this like almost this like industrialization of nervous system work on the internet where it's like, let's perfect the ideal perfect amount of time and tools to regulate our nervous system, um, because that's what the influencer said on the internet. Not saying that that's what you're doing, but I'm just saying I'm seeing it a lot. And so it can be helpful to be with ourselves to see what is good for us. So, for example, something that helps regulate me is a walk in nature, playing with a dog, putting my feet in the ground, um, journaling, doing breath work, putting my legs up the wall, playing, like looking at the flowers, getting off of my phone. So sometimes it can look really like less specific to a tool as well. So that's good to know.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate you saying that too because I think to your point, a lot of it is like, okay, so I either have to be doing breath work or somehow have to get myself, in a parasympathetic state. And usually my thought is like, okay, how do I do that? And does that require, a tool or like a device or something like that that I see online or influencer or something like that. But I think a big portion of I think my body is a little bit confused because I do notice mentally I listened to a podcast the other day and it was brought up that like functional freeze can look like you wanting to like lay on the couch and watch TV and not want to do anything else and um, or it could be something different and so it looks different in a lot of ways in different people and I think mentally my capacity to handle stress feels often like in the freeze or I feel very like something small can become like this big thing and I go from 0 to 100 but then from a physical perspective I'm on hydrocortisone for the adrenal fatigue. And so, my body doesn't always feel the burnout, but my mind does. And so then I'm like, I just feel confused. And so it's beneficial and comforting to know that just, a walk outside or something like that could be exactly, that what you need instead of, another device or another wellness hack or something like that.
Mm, yeah, so powerful, your words. I mean, I'm sure I know, I think Kat and Tracy are both on in the car now because they're driving to see each other. And so I know a lot of us aren't on the video right now, but I'm sure that if I asked, everyone on here would say that they've been there where you feel that. And yeah, Kat 2.0 is nodding her head up and down. And when you've been on the healing journey as long or as acutely as you have, Clarissa, which I know you and I talked about that, and most people on this call have been through a lot too with their health, it's like I find that we can kind of become a little bit like obsessed with being perfect with healing too.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I really want to like help you dismantle that if you're open to it.
Definitely, I would love that.
Yeah. Because like the tool only works if the tool works, right? Like it's like we have over intellectualized healing. Um, guess what? Guess what? Guess what helps us heal? Ready? Good food that doesn't have toxins in it, clean water, sunshine, moving our body, and connecting with other humans. That's it. That's it. That that is it. We live inside on our blue screens, working 12 hours a day, stressed out and not connecting with other human beings in person, eating garbage food because we're eating, we're trying to like whatever have the quick fix, and our country is kind of limited, let's be honest, right? So basics are really important, and we have gotten so far away from them.
I completely agree.
So you're starting fresh here. I know you've been through a lot of people and all these fancy treatments, but I would love to encourage you to not add a single more tool, pay for another single thing, none of that, unless you're going outside, putting your feet in the ground, drinking clean water, eating good food, and being with human beings and sleeping.
Perfect. Challenge accepted.
Great. Yay. Is that enough to get
Yeah,
you started with where you're at?
yes, I think yes, because one of my action steps actually was kind of getting back to the basics, and kind of steering away from what's the next thing, and trying to grasp at the next thing, and something that comes free and natural to everybody. I think that's a great place for me to start, and it gives me a little bit more motivation rather than having to add something onto the stack, or add, you know, another, portion of my day has to go to, okay, 20 minutes, you have to do this, and this, or you have to, this is more natural. So I think it gets me more motivated to do stuff like that. And so that is definitely going to be one of my goals this week.
That's amazing. I can't recommend it enough. I think I know you and I had like a little bit of a one-to-one chat before you joined, and it's like you've been given a lot of really expensive like biohacks. But the ultimate biohack is sleep well, get sunshine, go outside, move your body, eat some food, go to sleep, repeat.
100%.
Yeah, so let's get you, if we want to get you dis out of dysregulation, it seems like simplification is really important.
Yes, I would agree with that. And I think kind of echoing Jess's feedback as well, I think another portion, and I know we kind of spoke about it, and I got your message this morning about really chewing your food and not
Yeah.
feeling, not being in that stressed state. Um, I've heard it once before, and I didn't really think much into it, but now that I've been so kind of in, what's the word I'm looking for, kind of deep down the rabbit hole, and kind of knowing about the somatic piece of it all, it resonated with me this time. And I think the other portion is, making sure I'm drinking enough water, and maybe that means, okay, room temperature water to avoid the bloating, and be more, I think, just be more mindful about where my stress is at. I think that's the big one.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and even the stress of healing.
Yes, I think that takes up, if it's not work, it's usually that.
Yeah. So here's what happens I've noticed is, and this is for everyone, we have a symptom and then there's another symptom, and then there's another symptom, and soon we have 6 or 7 symptoms, and then we try something and maybe it doesn't really work, and then we get a little, well, maybe it'll be the next thing, and then we end up trying like 20 different things to kind of fix these various symptoms, and we're playing like whack-a-mole with our health, right? And then we kind of lose sight of the basics, but also in that process, we lose trust in our body.
Definitely.
And your body and you have a relationship. And so just like a romantic or a friend relationship doesn't feel really good when you're not trusted. So I really encourage all of us to get to know what our body's telling us, communicate with our bodies, and connect with our bodies, and to recognize that symptoms are the signpost. They are telling us information. And oftentimes it's like Katrina said on the earlier, she's like, I was feeling bad and then I drank water and I realized it's just dehydrated. So before we spend, a gazillion dollars on a cold plunge or a pulsetto or things like that, have we drank enough water? Have we connected
Yeah,
with ourselves? Have we done some quiet time?
100%. Yeah, I think that's my next step. Um, feel much better about that than having to spend more money. And I think, given kind of just like past experiences with doctors and just kind of also the line of work I do, I feel like the first, to your point with the whack-a-mole and the symptoms, like your first instinct is to be like, oh, well, your body decided to stop doing this, or the connection between, your brain and your adrenals, it stopped working, and that's that. And I think I'm slowly trying to rewire that instinct and to, say, okay, no, this is bodies are very intricately made and they're very smart, and there's got to be a deeper reason that I'm experiencing this because my body just doesn't break. It's trying to tell me something or another, and just trying to be patient, I think, with all that.
Yeah. Yeah, patience and also remembering that what you just said, like your body's not broken. You don't need to be fixed.
100%.
Yeah, I think we all need to hear that. Um, it's really can be quite challenging when you have those things pop up. But like you've already screened yourself for Addison's and Cushing's and all the things for adrenals. So like even the language we use, guys, to talk about our body is really important. I was talking to Ali Joel. She just joined the group this week too, and sh like this thing what we do, right, with like chronic illness stuff. We go like my anxiety, my adrenal fatigue, my this, my that, this like personalization of the condition or the symptom and this ownership of it. And I encourage us all to start to watch our language. How are we thinking? How are we communicating with our body? What are we saying to ourselves? What's the internal landscape? Can we shift it? Can we say something different? Even if it's not 100% the fullest extent of where we want to be, right? Like I would imagine that you saying my adrenals are working perfectly would probably feel very false to you,
A
right?
little bit.
Right? So it's not that, it's not gaslighting, but it's like maybe once you get the basics down, maybe we do a tapping and EFT tapping in the group, or we can create a specialized one where the tapping is like the message you're sending yourself is like every day my adrenals are getting stronger.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's be mindful. And I would say for everyone, if you notice you're saying something not very nice about yourself or your body, write it down. Write it down on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side of the paper, just like we said for cat. What do you want instead? What's the smallest step of the actual the linguistics that you could choose instead of what you're choosing now that would help you feel better about it? You know? Um,
I
it's really important. Cool. Is that enough for today?
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. I'm so glad
Yes,
you're here.
I, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. And just in the chat for anyone watching the replay or seeing, or I know a lot of people are driving, Kat was just saying, we were just talking about making a joy list. So if this is helpful for anyone, I'll just say it out loud, is something that one of my coaches gave me, and I don't know, Carly, if you did this too, but when we were doing NLP, I was given the tasking of making a list of things that brought me joy, 50 things that bring me joy. Y'all, that was a lot of things. So yeah, you might be having kind of a reaction to that number. I did. I was like, I can't 50 things. I can't find 50 things that bring me joy. And guess what? I found it. Um, 50 things that bring you joy could be a piece of dark chocolate, the smell of orange zest, the taste of your favorite cup of coffee or tea, the feeling you have when you hold the cup of tea, the sensation of petting your cat, the joy that happens when you hug a really good friend. Your favorite TV show, like mine's Grey's Anatomy. Don't you ever, you'll have to like take that away from my cold dead hands. Do not take my Grays from me. Um, maybe a favorite lip gloss, the smell of the trees in spring. 50 things that bring you joy, to help you create some more joy in your life and to remind you that you have plenty of things that can bring you joy, right? We want to change our state. We guess who changes the state? Us, right? So 50 things that bring you joy can be a really fun experiment. And if you do it, I'd love to hear about it. Cool. Thumbs up from Kat. Okay. We'll end there. We are meeting again in 2 weeks. Um, and you have me and Carly in between on the messages. If you have questions, you have the weekly check-in forms that come on Sundays. Please get them to us by midday on Tuesday so that we can get organized and support you for the week ahead. No dumb questions, only support. And we are proud of all of you and hope you have a great night, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, everyone.